Imagine you're standing in the pit lane in Bahrain right now. It is 30 degrees Celsius, but honestly, it feels hotter.
Oh, way hotter. The air is just, it's thick.
It's heavy. It's full of sand, dust, and there is this really distinct, sharp smell hitting you. It's not just rubber or fuel.
No, it's burnt carbon fiber.
Exactly. That's the smell of day one of 2026 testing. We are finally here, and everything is different. The cars, the sound, even the way they're being driven looks wrong. But it isn't.
It really is an assault on the senses. And that smell, that burnt carbon, is the perfect metaphor, isn't it? It means teams are pushing these brand new machines to their thermal limit from minute one.
This is not the Barcelona shakedown.
Not at all. That was, what, 12 degrees? Overcast? This is the real deal. The conditions are just brutal compared to Spain. And it's not just the heat, it's that wind.
Yeah, that wind from the south-southeast. It's a nightmare here.
It's a tailwind on the main straight, so it pushes you into the braking zone faster than you want, and then it becomes a headwind in the slow stuff. It just completely messes with the aero balance.
And turns the track into, like, sandpaper with all the dust.
Precisely. So today isn't about who's fastest. It's a survival test. It's about seeing if your wind tunnel numbers mean anything in the real world.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We are not just going to read you the timing sheets, because, let's be honest, day one timing sheets are mostly lies.
Mostly.
We're going to decode what's hiding behind those numbers. We've got telemetry, trackside reports. We're going to figure out how these drivers are wrestling this new generation of cars.
And wrestling is the perfect word. We'll touch on the world champion topping the charts, sure. But the real story is this bizarre new driving technique Max Verstappen is using.
The first gear thing, yeah.
And we have to talk about why Mercedes mechanics were seen with a literal hammer.
A hammer. Never a good sign.
And Audi's radical new look that, well, it's either genius or a total disaster.
Okay, let's unpack it. We should start with the leaderboard just to get that headline out of the way.
Yeah.
If you just glanced at the times, you saw Lando Norris, McLaren, P1. Business as usual for the champ.
On the surface, yeah. The McLaren looks incredibly stable. Visually, it hasn't changed a lot from the Barcelona car, which suggests they're just refining a package they already understand.
They look confident.
He looked comfortable, and in F1, comfort almost always equals speed. He put in a solid lap, the car wasn't fighting him, he gets the glory run.
But comfort can be deceptive in testing. I was looking at the lap counts, and that's where the story completely flips for me. Because while Lando was doing glory runs, Max Verstappen was, he was endurance racing.
This is the critical data point. Max clocked over 130 laps in a single day.
That's nearly 2 full Grand Prix distances.
Think about that. In 30-degree heat, in a brand new car with totally new regulations. While other teams were in the garage fixing things, the Red Bull was just pounding around and around.
It's intimidating. You have a completely new rule book, and Red Bull just runs a marathon out of the box without breaking a sweat.
It's a massive psychological blow to everyone else. McLaren is refining speed, sure, but Red Bull is stress testing a philosophy. They're gathering gigabytes of data while others are just trying to make sure the car holds together.
They had that new glossy livery, which looked great.
Looks fantastic. But the real beauty was a reliability. And that reliability allowed Verstappen to experiment with a driving technique that I think is going to define this whole 2026 era.
Let's get into the weeds on this, because this was the aha moment for me. We knew the engines were changing, 50% electric, but I didn't realize it would change the actual driving this much. I saw the onboard of Max at turn 10, and I thought he'd made a mistake.
It was violent, doesn't it?
Yeah, he dropped it into first gear. That usually means you've completely missed your braking point. But he did it every single lap.
To anyone watching, it looks like he's trying to blow up the gearbox. The engine just screams. Turn 10 is this tricky, technical left-hander. For the last decade, it's a second or third gear corner.
Always.
But our trackside people confirmed it. Verstappen, and pretty much only Verstappen at the start of the day, was going all the way down to first.
Right. First gear in an F1 car is for what? Leaving the pit box?
Mm-hmm.
If you touch the throttle in first, you just spin the tires. So why is he doing it mid-corner?
It's 100% about energy harvesting.
Okay.
The new rules got rid of the MGUH, the heat recovery unit. So all the pressure to recharge the battery is on the MGUK, the kinetic system.
Which charges when you brake?
Correct. But normal braking isn't enough anymore to fill up this massive new battery. By dropping that extra gear first instead of second, Max is spiking the engine revs. That massive engine braking drives the MGUK so much harder. He's literally trading gearbox life for battery percentage.
But here's the part that melts my brain. He shifts to first to charge, but he can't actually drive out of the corner in first.
No, he'd spin instantly, so he has to do this little dance.
It's a V shape in the gearbox.
Exactly. Brake, smash it down to first, get that energy spike, and then before he even thinks about the throttle, he has to click back up to second to get traction on the exit.
That is an insane mental workload.
It's exhausting. And what's really fascinating is that later in the day we saw the Audi drivers start to try it, but the Mercedes drivers
Yeah.
and their customer teams, they weren't touching it.
Which raises the question, right? Is their engine not capable of it, or have they just not figured out the trick yet?
That's the million-dollar question.
And speaking of weird engine sounds, what was going on with the practice starts? The revs went high, then dropped, then they launched.
That's the glorious return of turbo lag.
Ah, okay.
In the old cars, the MGUH would keep the turbo spinning electrically. So power was instant. The MGUH is gone now, banned. So there's nothing pre-spinning the turbo for them.
So it's all down to exhaust gases, like in the old days.
Exactly. So before a start, they have to manually spool up the turbo, rev the engine high, get the turbine spinning, then catch it on the clutch drop. If you get it wrong, you plant your foot and therm nothing for a second.
Wow. It's making starts super technical again.
It's almost like the 1980s turbo era, but with, a spaceship attached.
So while Red Bull's out there playing 4D chess with their gearbox, the scene at Mercedes was a bit more industrial.
It was primal. We're used to seeing mechanics with laptops and sensors, seeing a senior mechanic swinging a hammer at the suspension upright of the W17. That is the universal sign of panic in a Formula One garage.
Toto Wolff called it not smooth sailing. That might be the understatement of the year.
Yeah, you don't use a hammer for setup tweaks. This wasn't a precision mallet. This was a proper, get this thing to fit percussive maintenance tool.
So what does that suggest? A physical fitment issue.
It suggests something metal doesn't fit into another piece of metal, a tolerance issue, or maybe something seized up from the heat. In a world of micrometers, the hammer, or the universal adjuster, only comes out when things are properly wrong.
And this was all happening after Lewis Hamilton had just spun the car.
Right. And that quote from him really stuck with me.
The lowest grip I've ever felt here in 20 years. For him to say that, I mean, he drove the 2009 McLaren. He drove the 2022 porpoising car. That's an alarming statement.
And the footage backs him up completely. At turn 1, he just lost the rear. Not a small snap, a full spin. The car looks incredibly loose. That rear instability is a killer. The back of the car wants to overtake the front the moment he turns in.
Imagine being in the Red Bull garage next door. You hear your car purring on its 100th lap, and you look over and see your rivals literally hitting their car with a hammer.
The psychological weight of that is immense. If you're hammering your car on day 1 while your main rival does 130 laps, you are starting this championship on the back foot. You've lost hours of data you can never get back.
It wasn't just Lewis struggling, though. It seemed like everyone was locking up their brakes, especially at turns 9 and 10.
It was a lockup festival out there.
I saw Sergio Perez in the Cadillac have one that looked like it just destroyed the tires in one go.
And it's not just bad driving, it's physics. These 2026 cars have so much less downforce. Downforce pushes the tires into the track, which gives you grip to stop. You take that away.
And you hit the brakes like you used to,
Yeah.
but the car just keeps going.
That's the feeling. Combine that with the tailwind and the dusty track, and it's a nightmare. The Perez lockup was a double lockup, both fronts. That tells you the Cadillac is seriously lacking front aero load. The air just isn't pushing the nose down.
And we saw Pierre Gasly's struggles reveal a lot about the driving style, too.
Yeah, Gasly tried to take a normal sweeping line into the corner, but he realized halfway through he was running out of road, so he added more steering and boom, lockup.
So the smooth operator style is dead.
For now, it seems so. You need to square off the corner. A V-line. Brake in a straight line for longer, turn the car sharply in the last second, and then straighten up and accelerate. Point and shoot, like a touring car.
Speaking of looks, we have to talk about Audi. The new kid on the block showed up with something bold.
They certainly did. The side pods on that car are radically different from their launch spec. They've gone for something that looks a lot like that zero-pod concept Mercedes tried and failed with. It's aggressive.
It looks fast standing still. But was it?
Well, Nico Hülkenberg caused a red flag 90 minutes in. The car just died on track. So visually, it's stunning. Reliability, very questionable. It's classic new team growing pains.
This all leads to the big complaint, the thing that I think is going to define this season. We're hearing drivers say, this isn't racing. Lewis's comment, that's not what racing is about, sounded like genuine frustration.
This is the lift and coast reality. The data from Barcelona was shocking. Teams were lifting off the throttle 600 meters before the braking zone on a qualifying lap.
600 meters.
Mhm.
That's like taking your foot off the gas 3 exits before your turn on the highway.
Yeah.
It's just coasting for a huge chunk of the straight.
It's extreme. It's a bit better here in Bahrain because there are more heavy braking zones to harvest energy, but the drivers are frustrated. They feel like they're managing systems more than they're actually racing.
And we saw that on the telemetry.
Yeah, this is fascinating. You see a driver at full throttle down the main straight. The speed climbs to, say, 312 kilometers per hour. But then, while his foot is still flat on the floor, the speed starts to drop. 311, 310.
The car is slowing down while they're flooring it. That has to be infuriating.
It's called clipping. The car's computer just says, okay, that's enough battery for now, save the rest for the next lap, and it cuts the electric deployment. The combustion engine alone can't fight the air resistance at that speed, so it feels like you've hit a wall of air.
It's like running a sprint, but being told you have to hold your breath for the last 10 meters.
And that's exactly what Hamilton means. It's becoming an efficiency formula, not a flat-out race. The driver who is best at high-speed mental arithmetic is going to win.
Which, for a lot of people listening, is a tough pill to swallow. We want gladiators, not accountants.
But 2026 demands you be both.
So let's recap day one. McLaren looks fast and stable. Red Bull is rewriting the driving manual with these plug shifts and just has insane reliability.
Oh,
And Mercedes. Well, Mercedes is literally hammering out its problems.
that's the summary. But I want to leave you with one visual detail that really struck me. The Aston Martin, covered in that neon Flow Viz paint.
Right, to see the airflow.
You could see the paint streaks on the nose and the barge boards. And if you know your F1 history, you know those shapes. It's Adrian Newey's signature, isn't it?
Undeniably.
The way the air is being managed around the front of that car has his fingerprints all over it. His influence is already physically visible. That car could be a real sleeper agent.
Okay, so here's the final thought I want you to mull over. We've seen Red Bull abusing its gearbox with first gear shifts to charge the battery. We've seen Mercedes can't even keep the car on the track yet. If Red Bull has already found the secret to energy harvesting that others haven't, if this plug shift is the key, is this championship over before it's even started?
It's a terrifying thought for the other 9 teams. If the secret to 2026 is destroying your gearbox to save your battery, Red Bull is already laps ahead of everyone.
So keep an eye on the onboards in the next session. Watch that gear display. If you start seeing more drivers dropping to first gear and second gear corners, you'll know they've caught on to the plug shift. It might just be the secret weapon of 2026. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll be back to break down day 2.